Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mr. Evil Dragon XXL. Welcome back to round, I think it's 6 if the top of my head says correctly, because last round was definitely round 5, don't quote me on that. And welcome everyone to what is going to be Zolder. Joining me this week, as per usual, it's the one, it's the only, it's Miss Number 2, the second season. That came out wrong in my head. And my mouth, but nonetheless, it's Jess. Hello, everyone, Jess.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Evil. And I like Zolder. It's in Belgium, and Belgium always produces some really, really great racing. So I'm really looking forward to it. Last week we had the 90-minute race. This week we're gonna kick it up a gear and do the sprint race and the feature race, like we saw earlier on in the season. So this is the second one of the season and the last one as well. But should be a lot of fun tonight.
Indeed. Well, a circuit which has hosted its first race in 1963, of course. Tragedy, we all know about the story of Gilles Villeneuve. Villeneuve chicane, of course, the second chicane on this circuit, which tragically, of course, took his life. A lot of famous corners on this circuit, Jess, which we'll go through later on, but we've got a nice hot lap to go through.
Yes, we do, and this time I made sure it was working before starting the stream, so it should be fine. Last week we had it from Vetro. This week we're going back to normal. We're going back to a hot lap from our very own Jazzman, who is currently second in the championship. We'll go through the championship in a second, but here we go. Here's a hot lap from Jazzman.
Hey everybody, Jazzman here. I'll be taking you on an onboard lap around Zolder for this week's AOR race, and heading on to the straight as our lap begins. You want to open up this next left-hander, and you go down from 5th into 3rd, and you just want to try to keep the rear as stable as possible so you can get on the power as early as possible, not like I did there. And up to 4th, then down to 3rd, that just gets the car's nose pointed in and allows you to get on the power quickly, run the car out, and just kind of keep a tight line here and go to the outside. This corner you want to take it in 3rd gear just to get the nose pointed in, and maybe you can go immediately back on the throttle. Just gives you a good exit, keeps up good apex speed as well. Getting into the first tricky chicane bit, you want to brake at the 100-meter board and then take quite a bit of curb on the first section of the chicane. It's much quicker that way. Heading down now into this, you want to spot your braking point just where there's black patches on the road, brake down into 1st. I just prefer it into 1st. You can also do it in 2nd gear. Focus on a good exit out of this corner, as it can gain you a good 10th and a half by the end of this little straight. So just focus on minimizing your steering, keeping to the left. The 100-meter point you want to brake and then get down into 1st gear. I prefer 1st gear, but you can also take that in 2nd gear. Not really much of a difference. Now heading out, and this is rather quite a tricky corner. A lot of time to be gained, a lot of time to be lost. You brake just before the 100-meter board, 2nd gear, try open up this last bit of the chicane and get a good exit. And that's been a lap of Zolder. This has been Jazzman, and I'll see you guys on the track.
Okay then, so thank you to Jazzman for that hot lap there. Before we go to qualifying, which all the drivers are currently at the moment, let's have a look at the championship standings. So after Tennis's win last week in the endurance race, which provided a little bit of a spectacle, a little bit of rain, and then a little bit of dry as well towards the end. So Tennis's win brought him to 186 points, 1 point behind Jazzman. So it's going to be very, very close as we hit the second half of the season. Ethan scored his best result of the season last week with a P2, which puts him back up to 3rd place. So I expect a big battle between him and Big Kid Daddy for the battle for those positions. Maybe they can climb up a little bit. We'll see. Vetro likes to be 5th. He stays 5th. Then we've got Darren Sinclair in 6th with 98 points. Chicano in 7th with 92 points. Pren is 8th with 83 points. And then we got 9th, every person with 80 points. And 10th is Essa with 76 points. He can't make it tonight. It's his and his girlfriend's anniversary tonight. So happy anniversary to you guys, and as they celebrate it, so it makes sense for them to miss this race. Then we got Davey in 11th. Well, Davey's out in 11th. Slicker 12th. Overtaker 13th. And then the others out in 14th place. And we're just about to start. Well, we're in the middle of qualifying now, and there's a few people that are about to set their first laps of the session.
Indeed. Well, talking about the man who's currently in 5th place, he's currently 5th place on the grid right now in terms of lap times. Well, he's 6th now. Someone's actually set a lap time. It's Vectro now. Speaking to him recently, he said he was not really feeling comfortable. He hasn't done much practice due to, of course, he is currently doing his education, of course, which does take priority. He said really he's just hoping to possibly get in around that 7th, 6th position, but he's not expecting miracles. But of course, he is expecting at least to show a decent show today. He is currently 18 points ahead of Darren Sinclair, who's in his 6th position in the standings at current. Darren Sinclair, who has finished in the top 5, all but I think 2 races which he has had incidents in. So expect Darren Sinclair, at least, unless there's an incident today, to be finishing in that top 5, Jess. Meanwhile, of course, if you do, of course, if you haven't noticed, Jess as well, Ethan, of course, he, SMM, a rotary, is suffering from a shoulder injury sustained whilst doing exercise earlier today. So, of course, wish him the very best on his strained elbow. And hopefully not to be worse, because he says he's just hoping for a finish day. He's hoping for survival. It's going to be difficult, so it's an upward struggle because he hasn't really been able to do as much practice today as he would like.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to deal with it. I remember in the Formula Rookie season, Big Kid Daddy did the last race when he was ill, and he still did it, of course. So, you know, but to be honest, it's good that Ethan has a lower expectation for the race, because if you have a better result, then you're probably going to be even happier. And he has 2 races to have a chance. Overtaker, I felt quite bad for him last week. We both jinxed him, saying he was going to win this last week. He didn't. He binned it and he got in the wall in the pit. So, you know, I think we're not going to say much about him this week, and then he'll score well. And I just love the layout of this circuit. Absolutely incredible. But I want to see how these Ferraris do around this track, because Overtaker is pitting P3 at the moment, catching up to the likes of Rotary and Tinnis on the 131. So I don't think he's going to do that bad, you know. I mean, he's doing better than I expected, to put it that way, Evil.
Yes, he's doing above and beyond what the Ferrari really should be doing right now, comparing, of course, to really the other 3 Ferraris. That, of course, of everybody's favourite Slicker, everyone's favourite Fren, and everyone's favourite, I don't know why that's so difficult, favourite, there we go, favourite Chicano. Meanwhile, every person else is in the McLaren. He's currently in 6th position. Where's Vetro? We're wondering. Well, he's down there in 10th. And by the looks of the car, Jess, looks like he's trying to turn it into a Beetle.
Yeah, he's got a bit of damage there by the looks of things. He must have hit the wall slightly, and it does look like a Beetle. And there's one other car that it reminds me of. Remember the Herbie movie as well? That kind of looks like that, except it can't.
It was a Beetle.
It can't automate the driving. You have to do the driving itself. That's the only difference, and he can't make any noises in expressing himself. Really, that's pretty much it. But anyway, Vetro, I think, will be probably going into the pits soon, and then he'll have chance to set some more laps. Jazzman, we're currently riding on board with, is sitting now. I'm just trying at 12th place, which is a bit of a surprise, isn't it?
Indeed. Just letting you know, Jess, you're breaking up really bad on my reason.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Just letting you know if I suddenly sound like a Dalek in the stream. That's probably why. I'm not quite sure what's going on. But nonetheless, Jazzman, he's just going through turn number 3. So this is the tricky corner. This one, very easy to step out, lose the rear end. You're going into the first chicane rub, main chicane. This is the little tricky left-right up towards the uphill, towards Villeneuve. Easy just to go overshoot this. It's the oldest chicane circuit. It's been there since 1963. It's the only rules chicane from that GT3 as well, but the other two did exist. Really, apart from the last one, which wasn't really a chicane back then, of course. Everybody coming through turn 2. Let's go and try and find someone who's coming through. That's Vilna, your daddy right now. Then into the double right hand, and this is difficult. It's uphill, kind of. The apex, it suddenly starts dropping away from you right there. Then you come over this crest, blind over the crest, over the bridge, and then down into Burger Box then. That is the hairpin. Then down, of course, into Jochen Rindt Bock. Of course, named after Jochen Rindt. And then into the chicane, which is Jackie Ickbock. Of course, all famous Belgium drivers. Bicky Daddy decided to give up on that lap, so I'm going to the pit then. So far, it is SMM Rotary. He's currently in pole position by just over just over a tenth and a half. He is ahead of Tin in second position, and then Overtaker in third, Bicky Daddy in fourth, Frent in fifth, a Royal Lamborghini in sixth, Davey Sound impressive sixth right now, as you might be saying, ahead of Darren Sinclair in seventh, every person in eighth. He's ahead of Zat 101 in ninth, who's doing a bit better this weekend as well. Chicano down there in 10th, Vetro in 11th. He seems to be struggling quite ferociously in this car this weekend. It is a difficult circuit on penalties as well. Jazzman in 12th, disappointing so far from him. He's still got 6 minutes, and Slicker, he's down there in 13th.
Oh, we saw the likes of Slicker and Chicano having a nice battle at the end just for a little bit of fun, and the reason why they did it was because otherwise it would have had a much boring race, and they were waiting for each other as well. So, you know, obviously since the race is going to be a lot shorter than last week, then you're probably more likely to have battles around here. There's some great overtaking opportunities. I can't remember when Project Cars 2 AOR last returned to Zolder. I think it must have been season 11 or 12. I can't even remember.
I think it was season 12, yes, I think, if I'm not mistaken. It was quite a while ago. I did come. It was it was a long time ago. I can't remember who won it. That's how long ago it was. I've seen many different seasons from then. Next week, of course, we go to another circuit that was last seen way back in about season 12. That, of course, being the famous circuit of which everyone absolutely adores. And of course, after that, we're off to Spa.
Yep, Spa is going to be where we do the endurance race in a couple of weeks' time as well, so that should be interesting. I'm still trying to sort out some stream issues. I think my internet's been playing up a little bit tonight, and Discord as well. I was hoping Discord would not play up tonight, but it seemed to causing a little bit of havoc, so that's not nice.
Indeed, as I did late, that was interesting. But nonetheless, we're carrying on. Big Daddy, he's currently 4th, Chicano in 5th, every person in 6th position, Pren in 7th, Davey Zout in 8th position, Vector still in 9th, he's just crossing the line right now. Can he get himself up 1 or 2 positions? That's the question. So far, no, he stays in 9th position so far, but right up front though, Jess, impressive lap from Ethan right now. He's currently just over, a 10th ahead now of Tinnis as he improves on cue.
Yep, indeed. As obviously Rotary has got a few poles, but he's never had a chance to take the victory. So, you know, I'm not going to jinx things too much, but if you're on pole in one of the first races of the sprint/feature, then you more have a really, really good chance of actually taking the win in the first race. But the second race we saw, obviously, Overtaker have a good pole position, and he actually went on to win. But there's some occasions where people just fall way down the grid, and we don't want that to happen, of course. That they have a bit more pressure. I can't remember how they get reversed, because I thought the top 9 get reversed, but
full grid reverse.
Also, and then it's a full grid reverse. So we got my mind was absolutely blown away that we got it wrong. So and then the whole grid got reversed on the second race. The last time we did it, and I was like, yeah. So, but you know, it happens. But 3 minutes to go. Just look at the field spread between 1st and 8th. 1 second. It's pretty close indeed. As Jazzman has had a bit of a slide there. That's not good from Jazzman. He needs to step it up a bit, because if he makes mistakes like that, Tinnis is going to fly away with it. He's second at the moment, leading the standings by only 1 point. He may have a chance to extend that gap if Jazzman doesn't have a good result. And I know the Teams Championship may probably be wrapped up really soon, but the Drivers' Championship is still within reach for Jazzman as Tinnis gets on pole by 6 tenths.
6 tenths up. Jazzman looking really, really vulnerable right now. He's down there in 8th. He might just about improve up to about 6th position if he gets this one correct. Goes up to 5th then, so 5 attempts in the last sector alone, despite that mistake. So he's got at least a second in him. So I expect easily to be around about 2nd, 3rd position, even with that mistake. The Lamborghinis yet again in the hands of Tennis and Jazzman, as so been this season. They've been getting really 1-2, 1-3s, but the only time they haven't is when they've crashed into each other, which is ironically the last feature race we did, sprinter feature at Kota. So drama, excitement, all still going to happen. Pren there in 3rd, Overtaker still in 4th right now in the Ferrari. Vettel just ahead of him in the secondary Porsche of the 2 Porsches here today. He's currently sitting behind Darren Sinclair. Sinclair, might I say, actually behind Vectro. No, he's ahead of Vectro now, and into the pit then he goes. So that is where Darren Sinclair currently sits, just slightly ahead by over 11 thousandths, give or take. So incredibly close between these 2 drivers. Zat 101 down there in a little 12th, and Slicker so far bringing up the rear. And he seems to be struggling a little bit around this circuit. It is probably, to be fair to quite a lot of the drivers, this is one of, if not probably the most difficult race we'll come to this season. Tricky, no room for errors. If you go wide, it's a gravel trap or a wall, which is how we like doing it, Jess. This is a proper old school style circuit.
Yeah, we were speaking about it earlier on. It's definitely old school, definitely in the history books as well. Somewhere where I want F1 to go in the future, but obviously the F1 Grand Prix and the Dutch Grand Prix is going to Zandvoort. And then we've got the Belgian Grand Prix in Spa. So, you know, it's a shame that it doesn't go here, but I just kind of wish they had room for Zolder, but never mind. Maybe next year.
Maybe, but I don't really think this circuit's suitable for F1. I mean, we'll be under 59 seconds, give or take. It's a very quick lap in a GT car. And remember, they're about 30 seconds off slower than an F1 car, so you imagine how quick that will go around here then. By just logic of that, once you're kind of rather touching the gravel through the exit and going on those curbs up. We've seen quite a lot of the drivers make a mistake through those curbs. It's very easy to do. That is Chicano's lap time absolutely ruined that. We're just waiting for Ethan now. He won't get another lap in. I do not believe he should not get another lap in. Indeed, he won't. But Kidaddy just up the road as well in the other guy. He's currently in 8th position so far. Let's see where the big Kidaddy goes. He got the line then. Where does he get himself? He goes and stays around about 8th. What about Ethan? Does he improve? He does improve, but not by enough. 2nd position then for Rotary. Overtaker, then he's on a lap. We're waiting for Jazzman. He'll be the real key cork in the bottle where he can go. And I believe we're just trying to see who else we are waiting for. I think we've got Tennis coming across the line. Then he's wide for the last corner, but I think he just got away with it. Across the line, where can he go? Can he improve by a little bit more? No, stays in 1st. Just over 1.5 attempts up. What about his teammate Jazzman then? Sideways at the last corner. Sideways out of X. What can he do? Cross the line. Does he improve? Can he go on 2nd? He goes 3rd, which isn't too bad. Half a second quicker than Brett. Overtaker. Next across the line. We're also rating for Zout 101, the Mercedes. Not last so far in qualifying. His brother, Davey's out in 6th. Incredible performance from the Bentley here today. What about Zout 101 then? Can he get his 101st of... Well, his first of maybe 101. Who knows? Can he get himself up on the front row? I don't think so. So to stay around about 12th, I reckon. Does do so. What about Overtaker? Ferrari. Another Ferrari's in 4th. So he's been beaten by Pren so far in qualifying. Silent but deadly is Pren, who was almost not going to make this race. Luckily, he's going to make this race. What about Overtaker then? Through the last corner. Rear end steps out. Front end snakes around like a back end of a donkey, but crosses the line. Overtaker. Where can he go? Can he get himself in 5th? I think he'll stay in 5th.
Yep, so we've got Tinnis on pole, and to be honest, if he keeps this up, he's going to score some really good points today in this feature race and sprint races. Well, we got the sprint race first. So, just putting things into perspective, the lowest result he's got was in the 5th round, where he got 4th place. Other races, he's either 1st or 2nd. So, watch out for Tinnis here tonight. Watch out for Ethan as well. He basically, the one people who finished 1st and 2nd in the race last week, they're 1st and 2nd this week at the moment in qualifying. So that is a good carrying momentum there. Then we got Jazzman and Pren. It's good to see the Ferraris doing well in 4th and 5th. Then we got Davies out in 6th. Chicano 7th having a good qualifying. Big Kid Daddy, I think he'll need to improve a bit. Then we got every person down Sinclair, Vetcho in 10th. And then we got Zout and then Slicker bringing up the rear. So 20 minutes worth of action coming up soon. And don't forget, it's not a rolling start this time. It's a standing start. So as soon as the lights go out, it's a go.
Indeed, a circuit with pristine history, narrow down this start-finish straight. And this is always good. This is always something GT Racing does quite well, which other circuits don't. And the start lines himself, the gantry, there's quite a thin road around this circuit. It's probably one of the thinnest circuits we come to this season. I think the most thinnest, of course, that being Rowan at the starts of Ruapuna, of course, which we raced last season, which didn't end well. Well, it kind of did for some drivers, and some drivers ended up winning the barrier. But alas, that was the past. Right now, though, we have the future and the present. And right now, the present, right, says we're at Zolder, a circuit which I love, everyone should love, and a classic old-school circuit. Not quite Mugello, which would have been the original choice for this race, but of course, due to it being a DLC circuit, we are unfortunately not allowed to include it due to not everyone having all the DLCs. Nonetheless, though, Jess, I think Mugello would have been beautiful to see GT3 cars drive at.
Yeah, because the F1 race was a bit crazy last week with the red flags, but I wonder how the GT cars will definitely have managed it. But I would have loved commentating on Mugello after seeing the F1 cars racing it. It's just brilliant at how flowing it is. But Zolder is the next best thing. So, you know, I think we're still going to be with a cracker nonetheless. And 13 laps await the drivers. And who's going to get best start off the line? Usually if you're on the right-hand side, usually I would expect the pole man to get the best start, but I can't remember which side has a cleaner side compared to the other. Is it the left-hand side of our screen or the right?
Well, usually you'll be the right side down towards turn number one. However, it depends really on the line, because normally you'll be, especially in racing trim, you're more kind of in the middle, so really neither side is generally going to be the greener side due to the racing line. We're just getting ready to go then for this race. 5 red lights already for the drivers, and when they go off, we'll be underway. There's the 3rd, the 4th. When the 5th goes off, we're underway then. Good start away from Tinnis. Good start from Ethan as well. I think everyone's got themselves off the grid. They have, indeed. But it is Tinnis from Rotary. Then comes Jasmine. Then comes Big Kid Daddy in 4th. Pren into 5th then. So far, one car going round. That is Pren going off in the background. As well as it was 5th. He's standing there in 13.
1-0.
Darren Sinclair makes a 1-0. Darren Sinclair. Good start from him. He's currently in... Pip says, oh, there's another Ferrari off the road. Now, who's that? That has to be Chicano off the road. Both Ferraris in trouble before we even got the first, 2 corners done. They're all just about to avoid each other, but Tinnis leads still from Rotary. Then comes Jasmine. Then comes Big Kid Daddy. Followed quickly by Darren Sinclair. Every person in Vector, stonking start from the Dutchman. All the way up there in 7th position already at the background. Overtaker, bad start from him. He's down 1-2 positions so far. He's getting under pressure from Davey Zout right now in the Bentley, who's looking rather feisty at the beginning of this race.
The Bentley's been looking good in the sprint race and the feature races in the past, so you never know that this could be another great race for him. His best result this season in the Bentley was, I believe it was the second one, Bathurst. I was trying to remember the track, but there we go. So he is showing that the Bentleys are good to drive around project cars too, and just have a little bit of fun, of course, as well. Gap now has increased to the front to about a second now, so Tinnis is pulling away. We've got Jasmine closing up to Ethan now, going towards the start of lap 2, with Big Daddy also having a really good start as well. I believe he started 7th, I believe, and now he's up to 4th place, so that's very, very impressive.
Indeed, Overtaker looking a bit feisty right now on the back of him. Meanwhile, Slicker as well. Overtaker already got himself a penalty. So that'll be presumably a 1-second time penalty. We'll look at it later on, but that track limit, like I said, Jess, already going to be hurting people. We've got one car who's gone off the road. Is that Slicker? It's the 3rd Ferrari off the road so far. 3 Ferraris off in 1 lap, Jess. Is that new? He's gone off again. Now what's happened? Has he got damaged? I don't think so. It'd be very odd if he got damaged there. I think he just had the car of Pren up the inside of him there, which of course may have just stabilised his move there. Here we go, Overtaker looking on the inside of Vector into the chicane. Just thinks better of it so far. You don't want to lunge a car up there because he'll end up in contact, and you don't really want contact. Vector so far, 7th position. He's in his natural habitat right now. Around about this 5th, 6th, 7th. He's just got Overtaker right up his rear chuff, makes him glide. That's the more crucial question. Behind them, Davies out staying on right now as well, doing an impressive job for him. Right now, Jess, you got to say it. Tinnis starting to pull away then from Rotary. Jazzman as well. The Lamborghinis starting to hook up. Now, the Porsche with Ethan, he's got an injured arm, so I don't expect really he'll be putting up shoulder. Well, arm, shoulder are all kind of connected, but nonetheless, he's injured. So is he going to be sitting meat, or is he going to fight it for every mat he's worth? Vector, meanwhile, he's gone over the back of every person, and he's got to overtake all over his back as well. So backs on everyone, but here we go then. He's going to have to cover the inside line, I think, because here goes the Ferrari. Quick, it isn't a straight line. Is he going to duck up the slipstream? I think he should dive down the inside into turn number 1, but Vector just about covers that one off. Just about then, so side by side. Now from the exit turn 2, it'll be brave stuff go around the outside, because Vector will just cover him off, force him a little bit wide, and then he'll just be able to hold his line, make sure he doesn't sliver run up the inside turn 3, and he should be able to hold that one stationary for the time being. Indeed, he does do so as he comes through down through turn 3 and into 4 in just a few moments' time. Meanwhile, on turn 4, there is Jasmine up the inside of Ethan. There's always going to be contact there, and Ethan falls over the curbs. And Jasmine, I think Jasmine might have to give that position back. He rather forced Ethan off the road. Ethan's not giving it up, though, up the inside, then down towards Villeneuve chicane, and up the inside he goes now, forcing wide. He does do so. Incredibly persistent stuff from the pair of them. Ethan says, "You're not coming through that way, my friend. Get off the road." And he does rather force his way back through, like Jasmine did a few minutes ago. So, well, you know what they say, Jess. Best served your dish. Oh, he's hit him. They ran into each other. Jasmine into Ethan, and Jasmine now, surely you'll have to give the position back. You'll have to give it back. He can't do that because he's bumping him off, really, there. He's bumped him through. Ethan is coming back through up the inside, then forces his cover, goes straight back in front of him. Jasmine hits him again, and again. He's rather forcing him here. He's trying to go around the outside. Now they've hit each other again, and that was inettable there. And there's a pile-up, and there's Ethan's rear wing, and as well as a pile-up as well. They've all had contact. There's a Ferrari involved, and a pandemonium here in Zolder on the start-finish line is Ethan into Jasmine, or Jasmine into Ethan, might we say. One of the dozen. They run into each other. They're too aggressive, and, well, that really has ruined their race. Well, that means, though, Vectro so far, now on the podium right now. Every person in 4th, Jasmine in 5th. This actually has rather helped Vectro right now, because these guys all caught up. And that's allowed Ethan to come right through. And I imagine Ethan, he's out of this race already, really. I think he is out of this race. He's at contact, I think, now with Davey Zout, potentially. And he is not. I do not expect. He is going to be livid. And I do not blame him at all. Jasmine there was rather pushing his luck. Audacious, might we say, that overtaking potential. Was every person, meanwhile, I think he's got ahead of Vector. I think Vector's spun it, actually.
Vector got a penalty.
Vector's spun. He has spun. Well, that's curse number 2 for Evil Dragon XXL then today.
Oh, no. He's not doing very well. Halfway through into this race almost, and it's spinning. There's more spinning.
Sinclair, and that must be Sinclair. And is that Overtaker involved? I think it is Overtaker involved. So everyone's going off the road right now. And Jasper back up to the podium in all of this, and I think he'll get a stewards inquiry after this one. Zap 101's doing incredible right now. He's in 5th position. He's doing amazing things. Vento's gone off again. He's struggling like mad right now. What's going on? He's got some kind of issue right now. He's dropping back like a rock. And remember, we should really be able to get around about that 4th, 5th position, because he's got Zout just up the road. He's going to be kind of this little robot. But look at Fred and Chicano as well. The Ferrari's coming back through in this race, Jess.
This has been absolutely crazy. And don't forget, for those of you that are new to this type of format, in the 20-minute race, which is happening now, and then the 40-minute race, which is happening later, these guys do not have to pit. So if these guys have to pit for damage, then it's going to cost them so much time in the race, because there's people that are still carrying on with the race with no damage, and they're going to lose a chunk of time, maybe be lapped potentially as well, and that's what Ethan is doing right now. He's probably going to be livid with that at the moment, but Big Kid Daddy, he was just here at the right place at the right time, was just right on the back of these two, and sensed the opportunity to go past them, and he did it, which was a great job for him as well. And I like these type of corners, but I find it really hard in the GT car. I've done it in a set of Corsa Competizione quite a few times, driven around Zolder. It's not the easiest of tracks, I've got to say, driving around here when you're trying to overtake, but it's a lot of fun if you get it right, if you go down the hill, as Zout is still trundling on in 5th place as Vector and Davies out of each other. Overtaker made the move. That's a great move from Overtaker. He's coming back as well. Zout 101's got penalties. We've got 3 people getting a penalty now, as You got to be careful, my friend, that you don't make it free wide as they touch once again.
That's right, what's going on right now, Jess? Have they forgotten how to drive?
I don't even know.
It's bumper cars, not GT3 racing. I mean, GT3 racing is contact proof. I mean, you do make contact quite a lot. It's turning into bumper cars right now, I'm rather saying, unfortunately. But nonetheless, Fred now up into 5th. He's overtaken Zout. Chicano overtaken now ahead of Vectro. Vectro now getting swamped by the Bentley up the inside as well, for good measure. The Bentley, I think, gets through up the inside. He does do so. Now Vectro should try to sliver on back around the outside to turn number 2. And let's see, does he go around the outside in T2 then? Brave stuff around the outside there, try and do the cutback in turn 3, but I think the Bentley just has that one covered off. Jazzman now up into 2nd position, but I can see a penalty coming his way, just about you, but I think there might just be a penalty on his way.
Yeah, quite a few penalties, I think, coming today as well. We only lost one driver, and that's Ethan, so
yeah,
that is a shame. I'm not surprised either about what happened. I don't think he would have liked to keep going with that, but at least he can rest his shoulder whilst the remainder of this race is going on, and that will probably help him for that, and it'll be less achy. So in a way, that'll help him, but at least he can Jeff a little bit of Vetro, so at least he can help him a little bit, and Vetro is in 11th, so he's having more spins than he went to Narnia, but he's still going, and I know Vetro, even if he's down in 11th place, he still keeps going unless he has, like, mechanical damage or something like that, or engine damage.
Qualified, which he has before, might be saying. I think that's the only other person I've seen getting disqualified. Last time, I think it was Vetro getting disqualified a couple of seasons ago at round 1. Driving in the pit then, I think he just sped just a little bit too much. He just couldn't slow the car down, sped in the pit, then straight to qualification, which is a thing this game does go, unfortunately, quite well. Disqualifying you for spinning the pit. That doesn't qualify you for anything else normally, unless you're cutting every single corner on the circuit. But nonetheless, as we're looking at Zat 101 battling away with Chicano right now, Chicano looking rather punchy in the other Ferrari. They were off at turn 1, remember? Now they're currently 7th and 5th positions, yes. They're doing relatively well.
Yeah, keeping themselves out of trouble, and it's not about where you start, it's where you finish, and to be honest, if they're in a position right now, they're going to have a huge advantage going into the race, being in front of those big dogs that you might expect, and maybe they could hold their own a little bit as well, and I'm actually quite shocked that the Mercedes is doing well, but I've got to say, Mercedes does tend to do quite well on the straights around Zolder, so remember when Gaza and Boyraxa were driving a Mercedes. Obviously, there's only a few Mercedes on the grid now. More manufacturers in this season, which I quite like. It's really nice for the last season of Project Cars 2, coming towards a end of an era almost, but we've got like still got pretty much 4 more rounds to go, so we've still got a long way to go, but I'm still looking forward to the races ahead of us, of course. But look at the gap between Tinnis and Jazzman. That just goes to show how much incidents happened. The only person that didn't get involved in an incident was Tinnis.
Yeah, indeed. Every person as well didn't get really involved in those incidents. He just got himself out of trouble, overtaken. Meanwhile, he's on the back there, and Venture's really struggling, Jazzy. Like, he's almost last. I mean, this isn't actually too bad for him, because I think, look, he's 11th right now. The car behind him is the car behind him in the championship as well. Darren Sinclair, it's 18 points behind, so Venture really isn't going to lose as much as you'd think. You'll be disappointed. Don't expect him he won't take any pride from this race. I don't think many people, I think they'll be rather solid and rather disgruntled about this motor race. Meanwhile, Chicano, he's all over the back of Zat 101. I imagine this should be a relatively easy move. Let's see then. Ferrari versus Mercedes. The Mercedes still quick in a straight line, even though it's rather not been performing as much as it should be. However, in the right hand, that thing is a lethal weapon in the past with the likes of Gaza and Byraxer a couple of seasons ago. And right now, we've got Zat 101 who's doing well. I might say he's holding his line, he's holding his position quite well. He may have Chicano over the back of him. Chicano may as well probably get ahead soon enough. However, he is beating his team, his brother right now is at the least, so one thing's good. And last, so we're on currently lap 9. I think we're just starting lap 9 right now. All that's going on right now, I say, Jess. We've just got Chicano chasing down Zout and Overtaker chasing down Zout as well, like we say. So
two Zouts
getting chased by 2 cars. One a Ferrari, one being a Ferrari. So make that one as you do will.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is nice to have 2 brothers in the same lobby. It just it spices things up a little bit, to be honest. It has a bit of a competitive edge, and, you know, Zout in 6th. I think Davey Zout will be pushing a little bit harder to try and get even higher. He's still got Chicano and Overtaker trying to chase him down, so that's going to be very, very intriguing. Chicano's best result in this season so far is a P7, which he got 3 times this season. And at the moment, he's currently sitting, you guessed it, P7.
Indeed. But so consistent these drivers have been this season. They always sit around the same positions. Right now, though, that's Chicano. Is he going to try and make a long stand of the chicane? Be brave to do it from there, because you'll end up punting the car off instead of it. I think Zat 101 might have just slightly overshot that chicane. However, Chicano taking a more acute angle, rather puts himself on the back foot. Overtake as well, also looking to make a move on the bendy. Flying over the crest down into Villeneuve chicane. Easy to make a mistake down here, and we've seen plenty of that. We saw that over earlier on with Overtaker and Darren Sinclair. I believe that's the two we saw going off into Villeneuve whilst we were looking to see what happened to Vetcher, because he also spun at the first chicane. Chicane's proving an issue right now. Chicano rather drawn over the back. Zout 101 locking those rears up rather much more than he would like. But nonetheless, keeps the circuit, well, keeps the road, keeps the car on the circuit, Evil. As I get my words muddled up today. Through into the chicane. On the exit, though, as the question is, what can we do? Ferrari versus Mercedes. We know, though, the Mercedes power, definitely the Ferrari engine, a lot less powerful. However, in a straight line speed term, the Ferrari is quicker than the Mercedes. However, the Mercedes just gets there a bit quicker.
Yeah, and they can do a bit of late braking. Remember what we saw, Papano was a Mr. Late Breaker last season. I wonder who it has been the more consistent late breaker this season and managed to do it well. And I was speaking to the drivers earlier on, and to be honest, I would be not surprised to see more penalties come up with track limits, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people have got penalties now, and fair play to the ones that are keeping it clean and consistent, but no more than 4 seconds. Overtaker getting the most penalties right now, as we're starting to see the gap increase again between Tinnis and Jazzman, so he's going to stretch his gap in the championship even more. Zout, he's doing his best to make sure Chicano stays behind him. He's like, you're not having that position. I'm going for 6th place, I say.
Well, saying that, though, Jess, he's already got 6th, because he doesn't end up getting taken out or got a penalty. He has got a penalty, has that 1 second, so really, Chicano just has to stay with him if he doesn't want to get past, which I imagine he probably does want to get past. Friend, meanwhile, he's starting to catch up to every person. Meanwhile, the battle for 4th and 5th position in this field. Big Kid Eddie just up the road as well, 22nd, meanwhile, off your race leader. Remember, though, this doesn't mean Darren Sinclair will start on pole position in this race. Vectro will start 2nd if we come to the feature race. Remember, Ethan, who did not finish this, will start by default, if I'm not too mistaken, in 12th position. If I'm not too mistaken.
13th, don't forget. Do your maths right, Evil.
I'm not good at maths. We found this out before. Meanwhile, Chicano, 7th. Still chasing down Zout 101. His best finish before this, I think, was around about like 10th position, 11th, Jess. Hasn't really had the best of luck this season. He's been rather struggling. Here we come, though, to a circuit which provides opportunities for those who struggle, as long as they make sure they don't go off the road and spin and make uncharacteristic mistakes. They can come through, and right now, sitting there quite comfortably, just make sure he's going to... Here we go, then down the inside comes Chicano, then just on kick, contact, and does they survive the corner? They're just about doing it this time around. Chicano rather getting himself in the walls there and almost punting poor old Zout off the road. Exactly when I said he was doing well, as Chicano rather wants the piece of my pie. He wants to curse me for my bidding, and he's trying up the inside again, thinks better of it. Now behind him, here comes Davey Zout trying to come through, so both of the brothers working together now. This could get a bit spicy. Last time we saw 2 brothers band together, they're off the road, and here we got the inside. Here goes Chicano on the inside, late braking. Here we go. Mercedes holds it around the outside, though. Has the inside for the next corner. Now just keeps the line. Now he'll have to hug the inside. Because that Ferrari will dive him. He'll dive him if he's not careful. He does just keep the line. Force him to go, but Chicano has enough. He's going through. Thinks of it. Can't do it, though, into the first corner. He can't do it. Now this has allowed Davies out to come through then on the outside. So Bentley now trying to come around the outside. Ferrari in the middle. Mercedes is up the road. Here goes Davies out then as he look up the inside. Won't do it into 2, won't do it into 3 at least. And we brave to drive right up the inside there. Just have to sit back, just have to relax a little bit there. Remember, we have got just over a lap to go in this race. Overtaker's dropping back. He made a mistake earlier on, which I was about to allude to. He got loose before all the might kicked off right in front of us. But nonetheless, Davies out, looking pressurized, looking comfortable right now. And Chicano's going to dive in a minute. I reckon he's getting a little bit frustrated stuck behind this Mercedes.
Yeah, I think he is. I mean, but this is proving to be some really good racing, as the more you guys are stuck in the battle, then the more the cars behind are actually going to start to catch up. So Zout needs to get a move on, because his brother is starting to realise that he can see him just a little bit there, as Davies Zout still stuck on the back of Chicano. I mean, Chicano is stuck in a Zout sandwich, which is quite funny to say the truth. But and also we've got Overtaker too, but don't forget penalties. Chicano's going to be ahead of Zout 101 because of penalties, as Davies Zout almost hit the back of him, but luckily no harm done. But yeah, Chicano will be ahead of the Zout brothers, and Overtaker in the pits.
He's got not enough fuel, Jesse. He had to come in for fuel. Oh, wow, that's not... Well, he's now going to have to pit him for damage. For good measure, so that's his race basically shot. That means Veg is going to be promoted up to 10th. That might actually be a blessing in disguise, actually, because as long as he comes to the pit lane, now that's actually worked, because he'll be starting on pole, Jess, for the next race. So unless that was a ploy, I believe he wouldn't have had enough fuel, I don't think, to finish the lap at least. So he had to come in. Nonetheless, though, that's quite a brilliant little bit of strategy invertedly, because he will now start on pole as long as he doesn't retire. Meanwhile, battle between these guys still kicking off. Zout and Chicano, these 3 drivers still building ahead. Chicano looking for the inside. He's got one opportunity, really. If he wants to do it, he has to do it now. And he's trying to go around the outside. Won't do it there. Has to sit back. This is all going to allow the other Bentley to try and come through.
This is one.
Tennis has crossed the line already, but nonetheless of that one, we'll keep an eye on this battle right now between these 3 drivers, because this is going to go down towards the last corner. Is he going to hold the line? Let's see. He's going to force one where he almost runs into the back of him. Tried to go the long way round, but he'll get forced wide. He'll get no move. And now, here we go. Here comes the Bentley to try and come through. Then here goes the Bentley. We didn't think about this one. If he's going to try and swamp him, then he'll try and squeeze him out. Ferrari's going to be forced to go the long way around. They make contact into the chicane. The Ferrari goes to wheeling through the last corner, but I think it's just about going to be... It's just going to be... I think Zout might just... No, he's not just going to do it. I think Chicano's got him. He has just got him. Zout in 7th. Davies out in 8th.
No, it was due to penalties. It was due to penalties. Yeah. Zout having more penalties than Chicano. So Zout was ahead on track, but due to Chicano having no penalties at all, that is him in 6th. And they're all starting to get a car apart there. I've just got to say, well done to every person. 5th place, his best result of the season. His best result was 6th place in, I believe, was it Kota? I think. So yeah, that is a really great race for every person. And Pren, despite him having issues with his child earlier on today, he's got 4th. So, you know, some astonishing performances today. But Tinnis is your race winner, and he's looking on course to be... He's leading the championship by quite a bit now to Jazzman, but watch out for those 2 in the feature race as they climb their way in the field. So, once again, Overtaker is going to be starting on pole position. That's going to be interesting.
Indeed, pole position for the man who, remember, last time we had a sprint and feature race, he went on and won that one. He'll start in 12th. Ethan in 13th position. Well, he'll start that in 12th. He'll start that in 1st. Ethan, who finished 13th, the only retirement after rather some questionable contact, might we say, between Jazzman and Ethan. Well, I don't exactly know what happened. It only looked like one of a dozen bit of contact. Jazzman not giving room, Ethan not backing out. Well, we don't really know. It's too hard to see from the angle, so we won't keep talking about that one. But all we do know is there was contact, and we'll definitely see a stewards inquiry into that one. Tinnis, nonetheless, dominated that race, Jess. And you've got to wonder for the second race, he's got a good chance of winning that one as well.
Yeah. He has done it before. He got second in the... I'm just trying to think, what was the sprint race? Yeah, he did get second in the feature race last time about. So it is doable for Tinnis. We could see a repeat what happened, and I was about to scroll through the results there, but I just missed it. So I do apologise about that. But there's going to be just a moment as well whilst the drivers get themselves a drink or two, and then whilst the lobby host sets the lobby, and unfortunately there's no custom grids in Project Cars, unlike Formula 1, so you can't set that, but I believe it's going to be around about 26, 27 laps around this circuit for the second race, I believe, if I'd done my maths correctly.
I believe so indeed. So we'll find out. About 27 laps, I think 45 minutes time, of course. Remember, hazy conditions for the second race. It's going to be a lot more fun to see. The drivers are going to be pushing it incredibly hard. Now remember, soft tyres and medium tyres both will work today. Indeed, and seeing Esther in the chat saying, overtaker pitting last lap, well played for pole. Well, he did have to pit. Remember, he had fuel issues right at the end. He underfueled the car, which was not really what he would do, to be fair, but when you're in that position, Jess, you really don't have anything lost. And especially when you're kind of down the back, I mean, you're still going to score points. Not as many, but there's an even bigger chance if you manage to start on pole position, knowing the fact that the cars around you have been struggling quite a lot.
Yeah, and maybe Overtaker's probably just gone with a masterclass strategy. Remember what happened in the other feature race? Kota, yeah. Just crazy. So, I mean, anything can happen. We could see... They got to watch out for track limits a bit more, though, and keep it a little bit tidier, because there was a lot more instances than I would have expected, but... Zolder is quite tricky. You're either going to end up in the wall or in the gravel when you go wide. So, if you hit the curb too much. So, something to watch out for. These drivers just need to be a bit more wary. And the temperature and the conditions are going to be different in the feature race. I need to actually check the time. It's about an hour later than the sprint race. It's going to be about 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock Belgium time. And it's going to start off cloudy and then it's going to get to sunny. So that's what the weather is going to be for the feature race.
Indeed. Well, expect the unexpected, Jess. We've said that before and we'll say it again. Anything can happen in GT3 racing. And as per usual, I always say, and it always does happen when I'm doing it, everything every time does end up happening in these feature races. The longer the race is normally a more dramatic one because everything goes wrong. Remember, this is the second time, Jess, might we say that Ethan's had an issue in a sprint and feature race involving another car. Remember, the last time it wasn't his fault. He just got caught up in an incident that wasn't anything to do with him. This time, he's rather just been punted, might we say, by Jasmine off the road. And I mean, we'll have to wait for the student inquiry. I mean, we have to try and remain impartial. But, I mean, it did just look more like Jasmine late on the brakes. He looked like he was getting a little bit fed up, a little bit impatient. Just wanted to get past, didn't think about the long game, contact, off they went. It was always going to be inedible when they started making contact. That was always going to start to progress. And unfortunately, for Jasmine, well, especially for Ethan, wrong place, wrong time yet again, taken off the road. And rightfully so, angry.
Well, luckily, the drivers will have a chance to submit their POVs if they... Well, they have to, really. So it's because, really, that the broadcast view has a different view to what the drivers are seeing. So they may see it from a different perspective, and that's where the stewards can actually have a full look. That's why usually if they show the stream, then it's just a lot harder because it only shows it from our perspective. So if it shows it from a driver's perspective, the stewards can have a more detailed look and have a more informed decision about what's best for this situation. And we trust the stewards in Project Cars too, and they will make the decision which is best suited for the situation.
Indeed. Remember, of course, pole position starting on the left side of the grid, of course. Remember, That is due to the fact every circuit that has the left side of the first corner is left. That means, of course, opposition start on the left, it's the right, vice versa, you'll start on the right. This is to allow, of course, drivers to be able to keep the position potentially into turn number 1. The only time that really doesn't end well if it's a chicane at the first lap, and it's a certain circuit called Ossersleben, which everybody doesn't like, which is horrible, and whoever designed that first corner should be taken to dark from a beaten with a stick. It's a horrible first corner. You probably remember it, Jess, don't you? It's not very nice, that circuit.
No, I've commentated on it, well, twice. Well, technically 3 times, because we did it in Formula Rookie, and I did it in Xbox One, and especially it just was so now, I just didn't like it. And I was right, 27 laps, there we go. I didn't even look at the thread then. I'm quite happy with myself doing that, because usually it's 1 extra lap for the formation lap, so that's good. But yeah, as far as I'm aware, also looking at the time and conditions, it's it's still spring, and it's heading towards summer, so that should be intriguing to see. And the drivers should be told where they'll be starting, so they can move out the way when they get to the formation lap. Let's hope they keep it a little bit tidier in the formation lap, please. Don't be involved in an instant before we make it to start the 4 laps, please.
Indeed, remember, overtake it. He'll start on pole position from Darren Sinclair. Vettor in 3rd, ahead of Slicker in 4th. Davies out in 5th, ahead of Zap101 in 6th. Chicano in 7th, ahead of every person in 8th. Fren and 9th, ahead of Big Kid Daddy in 10th. Jazzman in 11th. Bodie 12th, that's of course being Tinnis. And Rotary 13th position, who I think is maybe, we'll see what happens in this race. If he's have a bit of cool, his arm will definitely like it a little bit, be a little bit relaxed. But really, kind of having a break sometimes if you've got an injured arm after doing a lot of work, it probably hurt a bit more. So I think he'd rather have been driving more so, driving through the pain and get it over with.
Yeah, I think his aim, Evil, for this race is to survive mainly. And if he does survive, then he's not expecting much really. And, you know, we're not going to expect much from him. But let's just hope he keeps it on the track as well and he doesn't get involved too much in incidents either. But yeah, it is. We said it last week as well, because last week where it was reverse grid as well. Usually if you start on pole, except if you're overtaker, because he's done it for quite a bit now. Usually we start near the front and you're not used to it, and you're going to have a little bit more pressure, and probably sometimes the pressure does get to you, and that's where you lose the positions. And it's not just about the physical aspects of racing. It's all about the mentality as well in your brain and your mind, because if you have a bad mentality and you think, oh, I'm going to do rubbish, you're more than likely going to be doing rubbish. So just think positive and you should be fine.
Indeed, like they say, every cloud has a silver lining. But for that, it needs to rain. And to rain, well, we're not going to get any rain for right now, but you always say you always have to have a problem for a silver lining to show. Because if you don't have a problem, well, there's no point for a silver lining. It just means you're getting more luck than you need. And, well, getting too much luck, Jess, is always a recipe for disaster, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you're going to have luck and you're going to have some skill as well, but sometimes... Remember Stroll had some luck in Monza as well with Gasly too, but sometimes you're going to need that, and sometimes there's going to be people that have worse race than you, and you just got to deal with it. I had that in Belgium. I thought it was the worst race ever, and there was more incidents, and I still managed to get a good result. So, but I still wasn't happy with it. So sometimes you may not be happy with a good result if you had a rubbish race, but you know, we shall see. Obviously, they're not in the right order at the moment, but they'll have to move out the way because Jazzman won't be starting on pole. It will be Overtaker, but let's hope. Don't say much about Overtaker, please, Evil, because you're already like 2 or 3-0 on the curses today. You don't want to make it another one, do you?
Well, we'll see what happens. But Overtaker has the best shot, potentially. But knowing my luck, now he's going to be in the water turn number 1. Vetro has a good chance as well. So anything can happen. All we know is Tinnis is going to win this race.
Ooh.
That's my prediction. So if it goes wrong, Tinnis can have a go at me later on. So there we go. I think Tinnis with the pace he's got in race 1. I mean, yes, we saw a lot of contact, but by the point that happened, he already pulled a 16-second lead out relative. So I think my money would be on Tinnis for winning this race.
I'm going to say... Oh, that is a tough one. I'm always going for a bold prediction as the 5 lights go on, and they're going to wait 5 seconds pretty soon. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. I'm going to go bold here. I'm going to go for Mr. Consistent, Big Kid Daddy. He had a good start in the first race. I predict he's going to have an even better start this race. And if that all goes to pot, he can blame me.
Well, we'll find out what happens, of course. Vetro, 7th position. He'll start around about 4th or 5th, if I'm not too mistaken. He just passes their 1-2 car. That's the Zhao brothers. Darren Sinclair. I was about to say Davey Zhao. No, Darren Zhao isn't the person I thought that I was about to say. Really shows just though what these reverse races can do. We get cars that usually aren't at the front, always at the front. Overtaker, Darren Sinclair, Vectro, Slicker, Davey Zhao, Zat 101, Chicano, every person. Then friend, Big Key Daddy, Jazzman, Tinnis, and then Ethan down the back. And that really just shows reverse racing can be good. Really only in GT3 racing though, because of course we've seen that F1 wants to do it, and I hope they definitely don't do that, because well, we saw what happened at Monza. We'd only get a different winner, but nothing interesting to happen because everybody's still stuck behind each other. So that's just a cheap way of just making a different winner every time, because those cars are terrible at overtaking. But nonetheless, these are GT3 cars which are overtakeable and are definitely a lot more better looking, in my opinion. They're beautiful. They got different engine sounds. They've all got different engines.
More manufacturers.
More manufacturers. They got better liveries. That's to be fair. I mean,
need we go on?
Need we go on? Just look at Slicker's livery. It looks beautiful. Don't see an F1 car looking like that. Though, then again, you could call that a Jordan. But nonetheless, the only livery that is the same from an F1 car is that one, because it's a Ferrari and it's always red. And a McLaren, which is orange as well. So, nonetheless, apart from those two, every other livery pretty much iconic for their brand. But Overtaker, Ferrari, Audi, Porsche, Ferrari. Then comes the Bentley, then comes the Merc, behind them Ferrari. Then comes the McLaren, then comes the other Ferrari, then Lambo. Then comes Lambo, and bring up the rear. The Porsche of Ethan after contact with Jazzman. It'll be interesting to see what those two can do there on the race. Will there be part 4 of their ongoing saga of contact? Well, we'll find out in just a few moments' time, because we are ready to go in just a few seconds' time. And we're underway then, here today in Zolder then, the second race. Good start from Overtaker, good start from Vector as well up the second position into turn 1. Darren Sinclair on the outside. Between those two cars, I think everyone's sliding through turn 1 or 2 this time correctly. Slicker a little bit wide in the background as well, so Slicker up the inside. I think he's got both the Zhao brothers to go measure up the inside of him. He does do so, so Slicker, bad start for him. Stopping 1, 2, 3 positions, there goes the McLaren up the inside now, so the horrible start, might we say then, from Zat 101. Tin is a bad start as well. Big Daddy even made a good start up to 11th position so far in his race. Now up to 9th as he now passes another 2 cars. He's already from 13th to 9th. A stonking start from him. Up front though, Overtaker leads from Veteran, leads from Darren, leads from Davey Zat. Then comes Zat 101. Then comes every person as well. As he come through the first chicane, has everyone done that first chicane absolutely perfectly? They have done so, and Ethan's streaking away right now, Jess, from that little midfield group.
I think maybe him starting at the back, I think, is helping him so much. And he's having some nice battles because of it as well. And probably that helps relieve the pain a little bit more if you're concentrating on something else rather than just clean air. So in a way, that'll be good for Ethan.
He's already trying to make a move on another car. He's already up to almost 8th position. He's pushing on. Meanwhile, your race leader, Overtaker. A time penalty I'm seeing that has been applied to him. Is that 2 seconds? It is 2 seconds right now. That means, by technicality, Vector is leading this race for the time being. I won't think he'll stay there for a while, because remember, Overtaker's got a massive amount of pace right now in that car. However, the last lap proves otherwise. The 38 barely caused that penalty. I'll explain why he's got a bit slower right now. Vector is second, Darren Sinclair in third, Davies out, following behind him fourth. Doing okay right now for the Bentley. The other his teammate rather say, Zat 101 in fifth, every person in sixth. Friend 7, Rotary now in 8th position, still challenging onwards. He's got Slicker now up his rear in 9th. Then is Jazzman. He's in 10th. Big Kid Daddy 11th. Slick Tinus not really making any moves at the beginning of this race. He's made one so far. He hasn't made any, actually, to be fair, because he started 12th. He's still in 12th. Really, the big loser in this is Chicano. Now I think turns up the inside into the chicane. He does do that one pretty easily then on his fellow comrade then of Big Kid Daddy, who's now in 12th position. So, switches up front, well, switches down the back. Meanwhile, up front, we have still got Overtaker leading from Vetro in second, sliding that Porsche around like the back end of a donkey going up. Zap 101 going wide. For good measure, every person through. Then comes Rotary, he's up to 7th. He's dispatched a friend. Then comes Slicker. Then comes Jazzman, who's now looking for the inside line. Desperate to try and claw his way up through the field. And he wants to be careful to make another bit of contact this time around. And be careful down here because it's a tricky little corner. Just about to keep himself on the inside. Down towards the last chicane into Jackie X. Corner. Around the outside he'll go. Be forced to go down the inside. For the next corner, I think he just about gets that one done. Yes, he does. So, now up to 9th position, making small but crucial overtakes. He doesn't want to make himself too vulnerable for contact later on. Ethan now, next shite on his view, that will be every person in 6th position, Jess.
Yep, that is his next opportunity. And don't forget, every person is not that far off from where he finished off in the first race. So if he gets to 5th place, every person later on, then he'll be a very happy bunny at the moment. Darren Sinclair still holding on to 3rd place, and he's catching up to Vetro quite considerably, and so is Overtaker as well. Overtaker not pulling the gap that I would have expected, but there's still time to do it. There's still time to do it.
Vetro's actually catching him up right now, Jess. That's an interesting point. Looks like Overtaker hasn't really got as much pace as we believe right now. I mean, how much fuel he's running? 54 litres, so he's running a little bit less again. Vetro running the most right now, 57. Saying that, though, Davy's out running 76 litres of fuel in the Bentley. So he's going loud or go home. We know the Bentley uses a lot more fuel, however, than the other cars. He's now trying to come from the inside, just about. I think as long as the exit says it, he'll be alongside the Audi then. So Bentley versus Audi down the straight. Here we go in the background there. It looks like McLaren versus Porsche, Mercedes. On the outside goes Davies out. Braver on the outside. He should just better slivering up the inside. Force the car wide. Gives him enough room though. That's not what we want to be doing because now here we go. Then up the inside. Should rather be easily. The Audi's more straight line speed. It's more, well, less draggy might we say. It's more of a sleek car than at the Bentley. So just be able to punch a hole through the air a little more easier. Covers the inside line. Davies out on the outside still, nonetheless, though. Still trying to find his way through.
Wow.
Force himself to go wide, however. Can't get through around the outside there. Still trying to do it side by side down towards Tournament 3, but he won't do it around the outside here because it's just too narrow of a corner. And we forced into the gravel if he's not too careful. Meanwhile, behind them, I think he's coming up through the order, by the way, is, well, going off the road, might we say, for good measure as well. Ethan doing an incredible job right now up to 6th.
Yeah, I mean, Ethan is not getting in too much trouble, which I think is a bit of a relief for him. As here we go, side by side. Davies out on the left end as he tries to cover off Darren Sinclair for good measure. And what a great comeback from Davies out. He's showing that he can do it in the Bentley. Well, there's been some doubts that the Bentley is rubbish around here. No, it's not. Davies out is definitely proving all of us wrong.
Indeed, Pren, meanwhile, on the back of that Ferrari. Meanwhile, Jazzman also having that as well. Jazzman late on the brakes, by the way, is the potential issue why he ran into the back of Ethan. And if you look up the road, look, 1-2 cars up the road, there is that bright blue Porsche following the bright blue Mercedes. Ahead of them is the battle between the other guys as well. Ethan not too far up the Vetro not too far up the road, to be fair either. There he is. Putting out quite a bit of a gap right now is Vetro. He's got himself in a nice little bubble right now with the race leader, and he is doing relatively okay, to be fair, nonetheless. Behind them, Rotary just sitting behind, just waiting to try and make his move. Now, the question is, though, Jazz, where do you make a move around this circuit? You've got the chicanes, but really they are not the easiest little puppies to overtake, are they?
They're definitely not. I find it difficult around here, and if I usually try and overtake, I usually spin and get into a wall, especially if you hit that curb just there as well. But it looks like we could see a three-way battle start to emerge here. Jazzman is looking really fast, so is Pren as well. And oh no, there's a touch!
It's happened again, even pointing backwards in the gravel, and it has to happen in freeze. contact around with the Mercedes. The Mercedes going to let him through. I don't think he meant to do that. It was contact on the exit. Rather unfortunate there. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong SMM rotary. And if it's gone bad, it's got worse for him, the Englishman. And he cannot get any luck in these types of races, can he?
No, it was a bit of a shame for Ethan. He was running so well, but sometimes you can just get caught up in incidents like that. We've got every person almost hitting the curb. So it is easy to do sometimes, but, you know, that was a shame. But a few people taking a bit of risk, and unfortunately it did not pay off. Biggie Daddy now up into 9th place because of that.
Yeah, a gaggle of cars, Jess. We've got 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. Really, pretty much, you'll see 10th in the background. That's Ethan, so he's got a little bit of work to do. He's still got a chance to do it because these guys are so close together. Off the road, that is actually Darren Sinclair, to be fair, actually, for... Oh, there goes Jazzman. He loses the rear, he catches it just about. He's got his teammate all over the back of him now. Wants to be careful of that one. Losing the rear end of that car. He's got no grip on that, to be fair. Even as he somehow hasn't lost any time in this. He's only lost, what, 2-3 seconds?
Yeah, I think so as well.
Oh,
There's Big Kid Daddy sliding. Now and Jazzman's done it again too. There's a lot of people struggling today. What is going on in this feature race?
That was lag, I think. That might have been some severe server lag right there for whatever reason. Big Kid Daddy off the road, Jazzman off the road. They all just about get away with it. Tinners now up to 7th.
Yeah. You said at the beginning of the race Tinners could win it. It's possible.
It's still possible. He's only 10 seconds off the race lead. We've still got 20 laps to go. Well, now he's up to 6th now, Jazz. He's coming through this one. He's like a hot knife from butter. Like we say, here we go. Now comes Jasmine up the inside. Well, poor old Davies out has rather been mugged there in about a space of 200 seconds. Well, not 200 seconds, about 3 yards, because there goes one, there goes another, there goes Jasmine. He's lost it again. He's got no grip out there whatsoever. It's almost like he's driving on ice right now. He's got no grip. And look behind him. There is Ethan all over his rear end. Here goes Biggie Daddy having a look up the inside. Now these two could get very spicy in a second if not too careful. Meanwhile, your race leader, by the way, Overtaker, really not really doing that well because he's getting caught by Vetra. Vetra's put a huge gap out on 3rd.
Vetra, I think he 133.3 for Vetra, whereas Jazzman 140 because we struggled. Tinners a 134.0. So, someone's spun Davies out. No.
And another one off the road. They're all They're dropping like flies in this race, Jess. It's like there's no grip. Here goes Ethan now on the back of Jazzman. He'll be very caustic because Jazzman's got no grip out there. He's almost like he's driving on ice. Ethan's just going to sit back, I think, just wait his turn because right now Jazzman's going to drop it if he's not too careful and go off into the wall. That's where he goes. Here goes Tinnis, meanwhile. He's having a look for 6th position, almost rear ends the McLaren for good measure. Jazzman all over has the rear to look out for because Ethan's all over his rear end. Davies out, who's gone spinning earlier on. Chicano, who's been having trouble. Stout 101, who's back down in 12th. Slicker in 13th. So, unfortunately, mistakes for those who have been struggling. Tinners looking like he wants to make a move. Should easily be diving up the inside here. Let's see, late break and move down to the hairpin. Then on the brakes, easy as you like, down the inside. Like candy from a baby, might I say, from that one. The McLaren's got on the exit load. Let's see, try and come back through the inside. Look up at the inside line here, though. Force him to go around the outside. Try and squeeze him before his Tinners right here. You'll squeeze him, yeah. Lamborghini, more straight line speed than the McLaren. Easy pickings there for him. And now up to 5th position. Next target, Fren in 4th.
Yeah, more people moving. More people moving places and more people losing places. I think we could be at a situation where people may have different conditions as Big Kid Daddy is and Jazzman as well, yeah. So people might be suffering from different conditions on the track than others, and that is not good.
Lamborghini is absolutely diabolical in this race. I'm not sure what's happened to them. I mean, the conditions are near on the same, but look at Jazzman. He's got no grip on that. Look, he's lost it again nearly. It's just like he's driving on ice. So I'm more perplexed than probably you are in the chat, everyone, because Jazzman, I'm rather speechless, you could say. Perplexed for the word. It's probably the Lamborghini drivers are more perplexed. Right? The Nero driver is not struggling. It seems to be Tinners, who's, as per usual, he's leading the championship. He's running away with the championship right now because as long as he keeps himself on the road, he's well, probably pulled about a 20, 30 point lead, give or take, nearly about 20-point lead on Jazzman.
I'm not going to wait till next week.
Tennis.
Wait till next week to work out the gap.
My guess is 20 points plus, I think. Well, it might be more than that because he's going to be trying out on the back of Pren in a few moments' time. Pren rather struggling as well in that car. We're on that 9 of 27. That means there's about 80 and odd laps to go. So far, though, a lot of action in this race, a lot of drama. Still a battle between 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, well, pretty much, yeah. 6th down to, well, 4th down to 9th, give or say. We might as well say, to be fair, Jess. Up front, Overtaker's still battling away with Vetro. Those two still staying together. Darren Sinclair in 3rd. Darren doing an incredible job right now in 3rd position, might I add, as well. Pren doing relatively beautiful in 4th for Ferrari. Remember, first race, he was pointing backwards on the first lap in the gravel. Managed to claw that car back up to around about 4th, 5th position. He sits about 4th, 5th position right now. He's got Tinnis all over the back of him in that Lamborghini. In the gravel there goes every person. I think Big Kid Danny's got through there. They all kept the other on the circuit. I think just about, yes, they have. Ethan now sitting just behind every person right now in the McLaren. The Porsche looking punchy in this race. And see, he's going to try doing down into the chicane. Every person covers that one, covers it again, not letting him through at all. Jazzman just sitting, well, he's dropping back, might we say, actually, from these little Gagala cars. Ethan really has the pace right now. I think Ethan had the pace to win this race, Jess, if he didn't have that contact earlier on, you reckon?
I think he had the pace to win full stop in both of the races, but unfortunately just got caught up in everything. So, you know, but these things happen, and you just got to focus on the end result, really. You can't let the things that happened earlier on play in your mind, because that's what happens sometimes. But meanwhile, Ethan is going to try and get past every person, and he quite comfortably try and gets past him, which he does. So yeah, brilliant stuff from him as he tries to climb his way back up the field. It's still possible for him to climb up some positions, because the gap between Ethan and first is about 11 seconds, so never say never.
And meanwhile, your race leader now only 9 seconds ahead of Tinnis. Tinnis starting to close up a little bit more, by the way. Jazzman is in 9th position. We'll have a lot of penalty Oscar here, actually. 4 for Overtaker. 4 for Overtaker. That is absolutely not what he wants to be seeing right now, because that's going to drop him down to 2nd, actually, because the top 2 are rather pulled away from Darren Sinclair in 4th. By quite a comfortable margin. Pren in 4th. Tinnis in 5th. Big Daddy in 6th. Then comes Rotary, now starting to make his move up the field. He is in 7th position. We have got, what, some 16 laps to go, Jazz. Jazzman up through the inside, then battling away with the McLaren. Then to be easy up the inside this time around, does do it. So, now up to 8th position for 2nd position. No, goes wide now. Sorry, not for 2nd position, for 9th position. Drops back down. Overtaker's made another mistake, meanwhile. He's dropped himself back down towards Venturelli, top 3, rather keeping each other nice and cool. As Tinnis battling away, and I think he's just got ahead of 4th position. Indeed, he has now, so up to 4th. 4 is Mr. Tinny Boy then. Behind them, Jazzman, I think, has got 8th position away from every person. Indeed, he does. So, Rotary now is going to be challenging on the back of Big Kid Daddy. These 3, 4, 5 drivers all going to start closing up on each other as this race goes on. Yeah, exactly. Big Kid Daddy.
He likes 6th place, doesn't he, Big Kid Daddy, at the moment?
He does like his 6th position. He's rather kept it there right now. And, you know what, fair play to him. He's not making any mistakes. He's not going off the road. He's not throwing it away where others have been going off the season. He's kept himself clean. He had contact in the sprint and feature race at Coda. He had contact with Ventura. That's the worst result he's had this season. I believe he got 3rd position in the first race at Daytona. He didn't have a bad 2nd race either. He's looking all over the back of Pren right now in the car. There! That is Darren. That is Overtaker off the road. We have a new leader. We'll have a new race leader. That is Vector, and he leads this race by a little while. He's got 2 seconds left from Darren Sinclair. Then comes Tinnis Overtaker, who has, for whatever reason, he's gone off over the chicane then, so he's dropped it down there. He's now in 4th. Now he's got all over challenge then. That means Tinnis now up to 3rd position. You know what? My prophecy of Tinnis winning this race isn't going to be too far off, Jets. If he wins this, I think he owes me a couple of cookies.
Big Kid Daddy's not that far from getting a podium either, and he's dropped a few positions.
He's gone off, hasn't he? But Jess, you've done it. 10 points to Jess.
No, that's my first curse of the stream, so...
First curse to Jess. He's gone off the road. Exactly on cue. So, nonetheless, he's not doing bad though. He's still got a chance for a podium, because remember, lead 3, 4, 5, 6 cars are all still together by a very small amount of margins.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than keeping himself nice and cool, nice and collective, he's just driving himself in his own pace. 13 laps gone of this race. We've got 14-ish laps to come from this race. Right now, Ethan is pushing hard as he can to try and get a podium in this race. He's got Jazzman dropping back rather quickly, might we say. He's not really closing up, and by the looks of that, that should be a 1 position through straight away, because there off the road is Brent, and well, easy pickings from Ethan. That corner, turn 3, proving probably the most difficult for most of these drivers, apart from this chicane, which is a
corner cutting central.
Yes, cutting central for quite a lot of the drivers. They'll easily be doing that. Every person, meanwhile, makes up a position up to 8th ahead of Big Kid Daddy, who's now in 9th position, dropping down the field more and more is there. Jazzman trying to get through, and that is the rear end not working with Jazzman. He is having a nightmare of a race right now.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. That's gonna be really sad, because he's gonna hinder his chances as Ethan has lost it.
Well, getting a penalty, getting rid of a penalty. I think something went on there. Was he getting rid of a time penalty? But
4 seconds. What?
Whatever it was, he still got the penalty for it. So he tried to get rid of a track limit penalty because he didn't have one, and he backed off. That's what that backup was. Didn't work. Still got the 4-second penalty, which really isn't fair, to be fair. I reckon they should get rid of that 4 seconds, because penalties around this circuit have been far too strict for the simplest and minest of just infringements, which in real life you can easily do and get away with that.
Yeah, but obviously on this game it's a bit more punishable. Big Kid Daddy's gone off. I hate making bold predictions.
You've really cussed him, haven't you? This has not gone well, Jess, for you. Your bold prediction has just backfired horribly. I mean, Big Kid Daddy's going to be livid.
It never goes well.
He's going to be livid with you. He is not going to be a happy puppy. Meanwhile, Rotary now, as here goes Jazzman up the inside. Thinks about it, won't do it there on the inside into chicane. Surely not. Thinks better of it. Backs off. 4 seconds now between the top 3 positions. You know what? Either way, these top 3 finish, as long as they stay there, I'll be perfectly content with that. The top 3 stay where they are. Nonetheless, though, knowing my luck now, they're all going to crash into each other. So
Ethan almost hit the back of Jazzman there.
Well, that'd be role reversal. I think, to be fair, if Ethan does rear in Jazzman, I think that would be a sweet poetry justice, might I say, from what earlier on happened. But I think it'll be a pretty swift move from Ethan right now to get past Jazzman. He pulled a massive gap. By the looks of Jazzman.
Oh no! That was close.
That was close. Well, it won't be easy. It won't be a quick move then. It'll be a long move. We'll say a long move then, Evil. So you know what? I'm just going to stop speaking, because every time I say something, if something happened.
Same right now,
this Jazzman's on the circuit, not gone off the road. Not front though. Vector still leads this race. He's got 13 laps to go. Will he win? Who knows? Tinnis sec, Darren Sinclair second, Tinnis in third. I can't speak today. And not blame myself so, because it's very warm in the UK for some reason. I'm going for a mini heatwave in September, apparently. And I didn't expect that in September, and I haven't opened my window, so I'm very warm, and I can't be asked to open it, because it's too far away and I can't, and I don't want to distract myself. Nonetheless, though, Giacano, he's in 12th. He's doing an okay job. He's been struggling a little bit, but he'll do fine. He'll recover. I like all these drivers. They'll all recover, Jess. They're there. To be fair, not too far off. Oh, there goes off, Fred. That's the wall, and that is damage for Fred. Wants to be careful rejoining that circuit. Now he can go back on the circuit reversewards. I think Big Kid Daddy's having a battle. No, he's not. As that is an awkward situation to see a Ferrari. As Big Kid Daddy, the Lamborghinis, Jess. And you can admit to this. They do not look comfortable in this second race.
They definitely don't. I think it may be due to its fact that it's hotter, maybe. Don't forget, it was at 11 o'clock in the morning in the first race. In the second race, don't forget the sun is at its highest at 12 o'clock. And, you know, the temperatures will be a lot hotter and hard to manage. So that's probably why they're struggling. But or it might be a different reason. Or it might just be Zolder doesn't like the Lamborghinis. Apart from Tinnis.
Apart from Tinnis, who just seems to be immune from issues from the Lamborghini. He hasn't spun once today. He hasn't made any mistakes, to be fair, either. He's doing really well, and my prediction for him winning is still on, to be fair, as he almost loses it on cue for turn number 1.
Oh, God, imagine that.
Well, he's closing up on second, he's closing up on first. Well, we don't expect these two to stay there because Tinnis is flying through this race. He is a second quicker per lap than anyone, really. The nearest guys to them is Jazzman, who said a 32.8 and a 32.44 Ethan. So these two are flying as well through this field. So we'll see what those two can do. But right now, Tinnis, he's looking all over the back of Darren Sinclair. Darren Sinclair, the Audi, they may share similar characteristics to the Audi and Lamborghini. They do share, I believe, the same chassis. Of course, they did, well, I believe they used to run the same engine, of course, as well. But they do not anymore, of course. Remember, Audi own Lamborghini. So, well, there won't be any team orders. The Audi mechanics aren't going to storm down and turn the Lamborghini engine off. Though that would be interesting to see that happen. Let's see, though. Tinnis must be making this move smooth, calculated, as per usual this season. No mistakes, no regrets. Get on with it. Get through. Easy as peasy. Behind them, Ethan, Jazzman and Overtaker. Those three still together as well. Jazzman rather stuck behind Overtaker right now. The battle between 4th, 5th, 6th position. Those three drivers, remember, Ethan and Jazzman aren't on the best terms after the contact earlier on. Nonetheless, though, Jazzman fighting to try and find a way through and try and get past Overtaker in any way he can. And right now, it looks like he's got a better opportunity. Won't do it down to the inside here because of only contact. Oh, I'm saying that. He thinks about it, and guess what happens? There's contact. Just about get away with it, though. I think he's got the inside line. Rather, forced his way through nearly there. I think he just about got away with it. Well, never mind. I'll be quiet then. No, he's saying not. They're going to go side by side here, then. Well, we haven't seen that before. Big tank slapper from Jazzman. Out the inside here goes the Ferrari, and I'll have the inside here. Ethan, if I was him, we'll probably be backing right off this one because he doesn't want to get involved in this at all because there's going to be contact here if they're not too careful, and they're going to hold each other right up and almost do make contact as they're almost free abreast. Jazzman almost forcing Ethan off into the wall there. There's contact there as well with another car, and it's all getting a little bit bargy right now between these three drivers. And there goes Jazzman, he misses the chicane. There goes contact, there goes off the road, there goes the Ferrari. And what did I say, Jess? It was always going to happen in the end. An Overtaker, I think that was one of the dozen. That was all caused by Jazzman. Rear end that.
Don't try and go 3 wide. I think Ethan should have stayed right alone and he probably would have got both of them.
Yeah, I think he's in the wrong place, wrong time there. And I don't think he should have to wait up there. I mean, that was definitely, I think, wasn't really his fault. I mean, it was kind of caught out. I mean, awkward, that's chicane awkward. That's the things that can happen. We saw it earlier on with Darren Sinclair. Top 3 low, they're battling together. Tinner's starting to struggle at the rear end of that car, by the way. Not as much as Darren Sinclair is through that corner, though. Rather struggling. We have got 10 laps to go in this race. Jazzman now in 4th, but really not going pace. Ethan's rather taking an audacious route in turn 1. He's taking the old route through turn 1 there. And that's where the route used to go back in the 1990s. Tinner's still on for a podium today, still on potentially for that win. 33.7, his pace starting to drop back down now. He's just got to make sure he doesn't go off the road. He just knows right now, more than anyone, that he should just easily be able to slot through. As here goes then, there'll be one car to come through, Darren Sinclair. Let's see, is he going to hold the line? Darren Sinclair then, first of the cars. Tinnis doesn't want to try and make an audacious move, doesn't want to try and throw the car off the road. Just, you can see, he's looking calculated. He's almost like Mika Hakkinen. He's just calculating, statistically calculating where he wants to position his car to try and get through. And the question is, though, he knows he's better on the brakes than the cars ahead. Now he just needs to make sure he doesn't make it clean. He doesn't want to make a mistake. Here we go then, down towards the chicane. Now, let's see. Now, what he's going to do here, we'll force the inside line then for Darren Sinclair. Let's see, Darren Sinclair will have to cover the inside line because he'll got the inside otherwise. And he's rather just giving them a free overtake there, Darren Sinclair. And, well, rather sleeping, might I say, from Darren. Tim's now at the 2nd position then, rather easy. And he's calculating this, Jess, absolutely down to the millisecond.
It'd be great to have a battle between him and Vetcher. I mean, we've seen this before a few races ago where Tinnis and Vetcher had a good battle and it was really good. They both respect each other as drivers, so I'm looking forward to this one. So hopefully Tinnis can catch up to Vetro.
Indeed, never say never. Well, one part of me wants him to win this because that's my bet. One part of me doesn't want him to win this because Vetro's the race, but I'm not going to say anything.
Impartial, be impartial, Evil.
I've got to be impartial. Not going to say anything about Vetro because last time I said something, he crashed. So Vetro's going to crash in this race. Right now, crash right now, spin off. And there we go. So that's what's going to happen. Tinnis, second position, doing an okay job. He's pushing on from last row on the grid, now up to second position. He's got to be driver of the day right now, potentially.
Driver of the stream.
Driver of the season, right, we say. He's been consistently consistent throughout the race. And if he wins this race, fair enough. That is another record for him. Darren Sinclair in third. Jazzman now starting to close up in fourth. Behind them, Ethan in fifth position. Every person, meanwhile, he's got a little battle on right now with overtake. Those back guys starting to close up. 1.1 seconds between the top two. Now, starting to close up. Meanwhile, the Zout brothers battling together. That's Davey Zout and Zout 101. Those two brothers, of course, starting to close up. Friend up the road in that Ferrari. He's got dams, I believe, from earlier on. I do not believe he is pitted.
I don't think so. I'm not entirely sure. Otherwise, but there's some instances around Zolder that you pit and the damage still doesn't repair itself. Because it happens in endurance races most likely. But I'm not entirely sure on that one. I mean, the gap between first and second has decreased. It's now 1.3 seconds. So Tinnis is even faster than Vetro at the moment. 1:33.0. Tinnis, yes. You deserve a gold star.
He's flying out here today. He's driven everything absolutely perfectly. Jazzman, meanwhile, he's kind of like a rabid bull in a china shop right now in this race. He's rather making amends with no one and making friends with absolutely everything right now, because the only friend he's making with right now is the rear end of that Audi. And that Audi right now probably shaking like a rock. Indeed, he's probably shivering because behind him is Jazzman, who is rather been a little bit aggressive in this afternoon's race. And let's see, is he going to dive up the inside into the hairpin? He's thinking about it, and he turned in now. He's kind of forced. That's a dive bomb there, in my opinion, because he's rather forced Darren Sinclair to turn out of the corner. He's really just playing aggressively in the car. He's really just trying to lunge at every opportunity. He's got, again, there we go, up the inside, forcing his car to in a position where he just can't turn. And he almost rear ends him. I mean, Jazzman is being, I don't know, overly aggressive today, Jez. Normally, where he's really smooth and calm, he's aggressive. He's pushing on hard, and I'm wondering, has Tinnis started to get underneath him?
I don't know. I think if Jazzman keeps doing like he's going to try and go for the move, here we go. It's a number 63 car, and I think he gets the move done, which he does.
Indeed, then. So up to third position then for him. It was a rather easy move in the end, to be fair, but rather kind of forced that move upon himself. I mean, that's what a racing driver does. You force other drivers to make mistakes. You force your way through, and that is how you do it. Meanwhile, we have got 6 laps to go right now. Tinnis, second position. He's hunting onwards. He's pushing onwards. He's got the Porter in his sights of Vetro, who's led this race throughout the majority of it. Due to really the penalty, he's kept the car absolutely perfectly, and if he gets a podium here today, I think he'll be happy with this one. I don't think he'll win this. I mean, you've got to look at this in the statistic game right now. Tinnis, he'll get under him, he'll get past him. It's more of a matter of time, really, and I think it's really going to be now. I think he'll get past. I think Vetro, he's trying to cover it a little bit. He does do so, actually. Fair play to Vetro. He's going to cover this one. He's not going to make it easy for it, but I don't think the Porsche is going to stand up too much from that Lamborghini. Behind them, Jazzman in third, Darren Sinclair in fourth, Ethan a fine fifth, by the way, right now. He's recovering well to be all said and done. Vetro losing it nearly. Tinnis also losing it nearly. One way and the other, and that would have been interesting if they did both lose it, because that would mean Jazzman could have won this race. You never know. Actually, Jazzman, how many penalties did he got, actually? 2 seconds. So, losing more time, actually, but Darren Sinclair losing more than anyone.
Tinnis is going to go for the move in the straight. I think it's going to be easy pickings for him. But can Vetro defend to the left. He's going to try to at least. 10 feet hard overtaking spot, but fair play to Vetro defending that. Oh, Vetro's a good there. Hopefully that's not a penalty. I think Tinnis, avoided that, but well, fair play to Vetro for holding on to that line. He doesn't have that long left, but if he keeps this up, this could be an intense battle between those two from the majority of this final half of the race. Bring it on, guys. Keep going.
Indeed, well, battle for the victory of this race then between Vetro and Tinnis, the man who rather should be winning this race versus the man who rather somehow, through just being consistent and just putting his car exactly where it needs to be, getting out of injuries, not getting involved in anything, as per usual, he's taking position. Look behind, by the way. Jazzman is flying up on these two. He is closing up like a rock because right now, Tinnis is getting forced backwards, and this actually is working quite well from Vetro. Vetro's kind of being a cork in the bottle. Rotary got himself a time penalty. I mean, well, I think that's about 7 seconds, give or take. Yep, 7 seconds. So he's not having much luck right now. To be fair, if Vetro can just kind of force Tinnis backwards into Jazzman, and those two can start battling, that is exactly what he needs right now, because he needs more than anything these two to start battling if he wants a chance at this.
Well, maybe the two teammates want to help each other to try and get past Vetro, so they've got to think strategically here. But, you know, I mean, Jazzman's got more penalties, so maybe he'll be helping Tinnis a lot more than helping himself. But here we go, here comes Tinnis. It's going to be the same lunge he goes last time, but this time to the right, and Vetro holds on again.
And Vetro not letting any way through them. We're on that 23 of 27. And is this the point we can start imagining? Could there be a point where Vetro could win this race? Has he got a chance? There's always a possibility in motorsport. Remember, Overtaker had this opportunity, but I think surely Tinnis has got a line here. Surely now, it's almost a matter of time before he gets past. He'll have to cover the inside line, because here we go then. He'll have a look, he'll have a dance up the inside. Thinks better of it again, though. Vetro covers that line with everything he's got. He's battling like it's for the battle for a championship right now. Again, he'll cover the inside line. He's not going to let him through. He'll move slightly on the straight. He'll just cover him behind them. The top three separated by now what is 0.8 of a second. Here comes Jazzman then. Here comes Jazzman on this as well. The top three then.
Oh my God.
Here we've got 4 laps to go. Give or take, I think, 24. The 25th, the 26th, and then the 27th and last lap in this race.
Tinnis.
And there goes Tinnis wide then. A little bit of a mistake for your championship leader. And here's Jazzman now going to try and come through and try and make a position between them. Jazzman looking squirmy. Tinnis looking squirmy. They're battling for what could be the position of this race. Vetro leads this race now by about just a car length or two as these three battle away through. Jazzman looking like he wants to try and get through and try and challenge for the lead of this race. But remember what happened last time, Jess. Remember what happened in Koto when these guys had contact.
That was it. That was in the feature race, wasn't it?
It was in the feature race, and that allowed a one winner as well. And right now, guess who's leading? A potential race winner right now, though. I don't think they're going to be that aggressive. I think they're just going to play this by the books. Play this statistically. Play this aggressively right now. Vetro, he'll have to cover every line he wants if he wants to win this race, but Tinnis is looking one way, he's looking the other. Left and right. Left and right.
So is
again,
Jazzman.
predicts at the corner. Jazzman looking. Tinnis looking. Vetro also looking as well. He's going to have to be careful where he positions his car, because Tinnis is either going to go left or he's going to go right. And I think he's going to think about the inside line here. He thinks about it. A bit of contact then as he got the move done. I think Tinnis just about getting the line on the exit then as he got the position through. Yes, he has. Vetro down into third then, as now here comes Jazzman. He come through and in space of 1 yard really. He'll lose one position. He might lose two. He'll try and fight back up the inside then of Jazzman. He does do so then. And Tinnis, again, statistically placing that car exactly where he wants it.
That is incredible for Tinnis. Oh, Vetro's gone off!
Has he gone off the road? I think he has gone off the road. He loses that position then. He's got it just about though. And now, Tinnis leads this race then. He leads it from his teammate Jazzman. Vetro down in third. This isn't bad though from Vetro. This isn't bad. This is where he wants to be. He'll be gobsmacked of this result more than anyone right now. I don't think anyone could expect it. Vetro to finish on a podium, nonetheless in the top 5. From what he said earlier on, he's having a look back on He's having a look on Jazzman again. Look, You know what? He's actually in second position in this race, Jess, remember? Because
Don't get a penalty.
Jazzman has that
Oh,
penalty.
Jazzman's gone in the gravel. Oh, my goodness.
Again, that'll be another penalty for Jazzman there for good measure as well.
Do you want to check?
Yeah, well, no, I'll definitely get a penalty. It's got more than 2. He'll have more than 2 seconds after this one because that will be a clear slam dunk penalty because he's missed that chicane and he's kept the position.
I think he's helping Tinnis stretch the gap, I think, a little bit. I think that's what I said they should do, and they've done it. So, you know, I think your prediction of Tinnis getting the race win is still going strong. So
it's still working quite well. He's doing quite well right now. As rating at second for Jazzman, then not expecting anything less there. Ethan catching up as well. I think Ethan right now probably might just act a little bit as a buffer right now. He's got a 7-second time penalty, so I don't think he'll push on too heavily right now and try and find a way through past his teammate. He'll just sit back right now. Up front, Tinnis still leads this race. He's still leading by a couple of margin now, 1.9 seconds. And what really was always going to be a race victory, I think, from Tinnis. There was no doubt in anyone's eyes that Tinnis, with the pace he had in the first race, that he wasn't going to at least challenge for a victory in the second race because he pulled 20 seconds. Remember, he was 20 seconds down about, 17 laps ago. Jazzman again cutting the chicane. He's rather being a bit naughty in those chicanes right now. He might get himself more than a penalty. He's not too careful. A student inquiry might be good for this one. Dennis, nice and calm, nice and collective again through the chicane. Even catching up to his teammate as well. But Ventura, the only one, apart from your race leader, not with a time penalty. And that just shows you, Jess, how consistent your first and third really have been. Fourth, 6th, 7th, 8th. Only really, what? 1, 2... Oh, there was no I said about everyone not getting penalties. Ventura's got a penalty on cue. So, well, that one shows that one. You know what? I think Jazzman's going to get a podium. Second position pretty easily.
Yeah.
Because he has that 2-second buffer. As Tinnis sliding the rear end out on that car, proving all his might. He wants to slide that car as much as he can right now. And from what was earlier on, Jack, unlikely for Lamborghinis to score potentially a 1-2. Right now, they're on 2. So, nonetheless, they're always like Mercedes. They just win everything. You just can't beat them.
It's like, Bono, my tyres are gone. They're still 1 and 2. And, yeah, as Tinnis has gone off a little bit there, but that's not going to affect him due to Jazzman and Vetra getting penalties.
Yeah, unless something dramatic happens in the next 2 seconds. Or he disconnects, which you've seen before your race lead disconnect on the final lap. I've seen it in other leagues.
No, don't let that happen.
Well, by the gods of Amumes, don't let this happen, of course. We don't want the racing gods to dictate this. We want the racing gods to dictate this race in a mistake, not something out of all these drivers' hands. And here we go, then. Final lap, then. Final sector. Tinnis. He's kept this car absolutely on rails. He's not really made any mistakes in this race. He's kept it cool. He's kept it calm. He's kept it collective. Here we come then, through the last couple of corners. You have Burger Corner to go, Burger Buck to go then, into the hairpin. Does that one okay then, through Jochen Rindt Buck, then he comes then, into the left, into the right, down the straight. You'll have one more corner to go, and when I said I was a betting man he will win this race, I was kind of thinking he might win it. I wasn't expecting him to win it. I thought maybe it could have been someone else, but it is going to be Tinnis. He comes to the line in absolute glory. He'll win the race here in Belgium, but crucially, though, Vectra is going to score a podium, and that is all I need. That is all you in a race. Vectra, get in there, son. On a podium, back again after what will seem absolutely struggles earlier on. He does it, back on the podium, his old self back up there. Even a recovery drive to 5th position. Darren Sinclair in 4th, and Vetro, driver of the day, without doubt.
I'm not gonna say it, but I'm gonna give driver of the day to Tinnis. Coming from the back of the grid to the win, incredible.
Every person in 7th, Pren in 8th, Zat 101 in 9th, Overtaker 10th, Davey Zout in 11th, Chicano in 12th, Slicker will finish in 13th position.
Yeah, what a race then. Who would have thought Jazzman, out of all people, would have been in second still? That just shows never give up for Jazzman, and fair play to him. He's got another podium, so you know, that's going to help him close up just a little bit more, and that gap won't be as big anymore.
Indeed. Well, that championship is going to open up, but not by much, though. This went for selection across the line right now and across the line. And he does go right now. So, your official order then, regarding penalties and everything else. Tinnis wins this afternoon's race then from Jazzman in second, Vetro third, Darren fourth, Rotary fifth, Big Kid Daddy sixth, for every person seventh, Pren eighth, Zout ninth, Overtaker 10th, Zout 11th, Takano 12th, and Slicker 13th.
Okay, so that's your order then, and it'll be interesting to see how these drivers do when we head to Silverstone next week. But I do believe we have quite a few. Well, we've got one person at the moment waiting for interviews at the moment, and he was almost close to a podium, but we haven't got many podiums. I think we'll have Jazzman, I think, soon as well. Hopefully we can get Vetro in too. Tinnis, I think, can't get interviewed anyway, so, you know, I think we can interview second, maybe Darren as well, Let's try and get as many people as we can. But first of all, let's go and try and get Ethan in.
I'll drag him into my little com box then and welcome him into our humble abode. Hello, Ethan, and what was a race of rather incident-prone, which was absolutely nothing your fault. Just take us through this difficult afternoon.
Well, if I'm honest, I don't really have much to say. Most of it I'm going to try and keep
PG.
Yeah. All I can say is I'm extremely, extremely just disappointed and annoyed. I'm not going to take it too much to heart, because at the end of the day, I'm here for fun. I don't want to let things like this, you know, get to me, you know, and take away what is actually a really good day for the team. I don't want to take away the miseries I had away from Vetro. But yeah, that first race, I don't even know what to say. I know that in the final chicane, I got a snap of oversteer, which I'll open. I know when I can openly put my hands up and say I'm at fault. And in the final chicane, I got a snap of oversteer, which put Jazzman around. I can easily take blame for that. But what I don't like is being used as a cushion, really. That's what you see in public lobbies, not in AO1 Tier 1. It doesn't belong here. I'm not going to let it get to heart, like I said. I know Jazzman doesn't mean it, but, you know, twice in one lap is not great. He may say it's lag. It's not the first time if it is lag, because you saw what happened in Zuai last time it was lag. But I'm just not going to let it get to me. If he wants to take me to Assured, he can take me to Assured. I don't really care. End of the day, you know, if he's going to have a go at me for tapping him, he needs to look at himself and not use me as a cushion going into the braking zones. But yeah, I couldn't finish that race because Darren rammed me as I had to wait because Jazzman was sat on my bumper. So I retired. I couldn't really finish that race. But that second race looked promising. It looked really promising. I got a really good start. Got up to 5th or 6th, wherever it was. And then I was overtaken out. And then he just decides to pit maneuver me. I don't know what that was about. I think that I felt like I was making a legitimate move. Yeah. Might have been a bit of a late dive, but I felt confident that I could make the move stick and would not have to give in the position back if I did force him wide. But I don't know what happened. He just pitted me around and I was back to plumb last or wherever it was, and then had to fight my way back through. But like I said, I'm not going to take this away. I don't really care about my race. You know, Vetro, he drove his heart out. He's, you know, I said to him earlier before the race, I said, you know, if you don't get a podium at all this season, I'll be very surprised. And he's only gone and done it. It was going to happen eventually because he's been very consistent throughout the season. And now he's done the one thing that he thought wasn't going to happen at all this season. And I'm just really impressed with him because, you know, sometimes he has his moments, but that was his day today. That was his race. And I honestly felt he could have won that.
Yeah, he very much could have won that. Well, let's drag the next man in, who's the other man in the interview box. Let's go and drag Mr. Jazzy Anui in the chat, might we say, who's rather been a bit aggressive in this afternoon's motor race, might I add. Jazzman, take us through your afternoon shenanigans. If you can hear us. Jazzman? Jazzman, hello.
Jazzman, you there?
After Jazzman. I don't think we can hear him.
I don't think you can hear us.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Oh, yay! There we go.
All right. Had some contact drama, spins. The car didn't look very stable in the second race as well. Just take us through your afternoon's rather dramatic race to somehow still get second somehow.
Yeah, it was the second race. For some reason, the car just had no grip whatsoever compared to the first race. It hadn't been like that, for all my practice. I don't know what happened there. And yeah, it was just I don't know how I got second. I mean, I think I nearly spun like 3 times, and yeah, I don't know. I just don't know how it happened. So I'm lucky to get P2 after a tough race with I'm just really happy actually just get a P2.
Indeed, you rather got lucky there getting past Factor as well there, due to your teammate helping them. But is it nice to race with someone like that, Tro, occasionally?
Yes, that was Victor put up a good fight, and it was it was actually quite nice to race with him again. And I'm glad my teammate when he passed him gave me the opportunity to put him under pressure like rather quickly, and I was able then to get past him to pull a gap because I think I had 3 seconds of penalties and he had no penalties, so
And then you got a second penalty.
Yeah, and then I think I saw at the end of the line Victor had 2 seconds, so I think he got that at the last lap, but I wasn't really looking. I was just trying to push and get the gap to 3 seconds of my penalty.
Indeed. Well, drama, excitement, and next week we go off to Silverstone. Just wondering if anyone else is joining our interview box.
I'll go and have a little
Just
ponder.
go and scout.
Yeah.
Just go and scout our interview box. But nonetheless, though, another beautiful race, Jess and Jasmine and Ethan, and this season really starting to shape, especially as now we come into the final stages, especially you, Jasmine. You've got a nice battle going on right now between you and your teammate.
Yes, it's getting it's getting really interesting, and I think Dennis now is like 8 points ahead or 9 points ahead, whatever it will be. So yeah, he's really coming on. He's like really having a strong middle period of the season, and I hope that it may continue till the end of the season, and we can continue having this battle and see how he comes out on top. Ethan's close by, so if me and Dennis happen to make a mistake, crash out, get a DSC, then Ethan's right back in there, so he's still in contention. So yeah, so it's like a 3-way fight at the moment, so that's pretty nice.
Indeed. Next week you go off to Silverstone, which, if my memory serves me correct, the Lamborghinis should be very good at. I think.
Yeah, I think the Lambos alright around there. The Lambos alright around most tracks. So I think the Lambos should be pretty good there. I'm not too sure about the Porsche. We'll go there, but I think in general, I think most cars should perform well there. I think we will have an edge because we have a higher top speed, so that's good news for us.
Indeed. Well, just waiting to see if anyone else can get into the com box, but
Doesn't look like it.
I don't think so either. So Jess, I'll let you round off the stream then.
So thank you very much for watching this very entertaining stream, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the latter half of the season goes for all of these drivers. This is going to be quite a close end to this championship, I must say. Next week we go to Silverstone, and I'm pretty much looking forward to that one. But let's see how these drivers do then. I have been Jess Games 95. Evil has been the one and only Evil Dragon, Mr. Roy Walker, and we will see you next week. Have a good evening. Bye.